Oh my God. That's a bad picture of me.
Yep, let me verify. Yeah, I think the volume's just turned up. Let me just make sure that that says.
Yeah, the camera.
That's what it's for the light on.
Are we all ready? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to order for Thursday, July 11th. We have two cases before us tonight. The way we conduct our meetings, we're going to have the petitioner come up and present their case. Anybody in the audience that has a question or comment, I'm going to ask you to stand, raise your hand, state your name and address, and we're going to swear you in for the record. Because all testimony is taken under oath. Okay? Roll call, please.
Member Alfonso,
Here.
member Bransky,
Here.
member Cap,
Here.
member O'Brien,
Here.
member Johnson,
Here.
member Castaneda. Chair Zuniga,
Here.
we have a forum.
Thank you. We have to approve our minutes from our last meeting, which was on June 27th. Does anybody have any corrections, changes, additions?
I have one addition. It's not here because it was not included. Chairman Zuniga asked if case 2411 would be discussed at that meeting on June 27th. He was told no. With that, the applicant left the meeting.
That's it? You got something else?
No, that's it.
That's it? Nobody else?
No, sir.
All right, I will then entertain a motion to approve our minutes from June 27th as corrected.
So
Motion O'Brien,
Seconded. I will second.
member Kemp. Roll call?
Member Alfonso,
Abstain.
member Bransky,
Yes.
member Cap,
Yes.
member O'Brien,
yes.
member Johnson,
Yes.
Chair Zuniga.
Yes.
Right, motion carries.
All right, our first case is case number 2416, a special use permit for massage therapy at 18719 Dixie. The legal notice was published in the Daily Southtown on June 27th. And letters were sent to property owners and residents within 250 feet of the property. Have we gotten any response on that?
No comments from any mailings at this time.
Yeah, thank you. The applicant is Faye Lee for the Relax Massage, and she is here. Would you like to come up to the podium, please? We're going to ask you to state your name and address, please, first. And your address?
504, Bristol, it's about that.
Okay. And would you raise your right hand and swear that the testimony you're going to give is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I
You
do.
didn't quite understand the first time, can you repeat it? Sorry.
So left hand, she's not gonna tell the truth.
Oh, I want her to raise it right here.
Yeah, you have to raise your right hand,
Yeah, the left is.
There you go. and you're going to, testimony is going to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay. So you want to operate a massage Relax Massage Parlor at 18719 Dixie. And we have been provided with some background information by our staff. You're planning on the hours of operation will be Monday through Sunday from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Okay. And you're going to start as a sole practitioner and you expect to hire one additional person in the future. Is that correct? Okay. Tell us what else you would like to do there, okay? In your own words. Tell us a little bit about your business, what you're gonna do.
How about your business be what you do for massage customers, like the therapeutic massage or relaxing side like that.
Okay. And. What else we got in here?
You're welcome to, you're welcome to be sworn in, but you're welcome to.
Do I need to be sworn in first or?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
We'll have you state your name and address too.
Tom Frickson, 504 Pitch Road, Chicago Heights, Illinois, 60411.
And you swear the testimony you're gonna give is gonna be the truth? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Mm.
So I've known Fee for probably 7 years. She has run massage places when the boss has been gone and stuff, and she runs a very clean operation, very professional. That's more questions. Yeah. What was the original question? I forgot myself.
Well, just a little bit about what she does.
Oh, what she does, okay. She will be offering couples massage, so a husband and wife can go get a massage. She's gonna start off by herself and work the business up, eventually hire girls based on how the business progresses.
Right.
There may be a total of maybe 3 in there. I'm thinking if things go the way that, you know, it could happen. It just, sometimes you get real busy all at one time, and when you can't handle it, then you have to start hiring more people, of course. So that's kind of what goes on. Am I missing anything, Kevin?
Now, does she have an existing business or is this something brand new?
She has worked in massage places, a lot of different ones through the years. Right now, she's currently working at the nail spa right across from Fifth Quarter here in Homewood.
Mhm.
And she's doing nails and pedicure, manicure, that kind of work. So prior to that, she worked in Tinley Park. She's worked in Florida once. I don't know all the other places, but she's worked a lot of different places and taken over for the boss when the bosses went on vacation and stuff like that. And she's basically run the place. And one thing I can say with her living with me is she's very clean. Oh my gosh, she just cleans all the time. So it's gonna be a clean place and a good place to go to get a massage. So,
And how many customers will she have at one time, do you know?
well, to start off with, it's really hard to predict it because the place is gonna be new. I think it's gonna take off very well, especially with the casino. You know, going in, you know, we can put flyers up there and let them know, give them a little discount to get them down there. Stimulate the business that way. Probably an average. Usually in a massage place that I've been to anyway, you know, I might be the only one in there, then again, there might be 2 other guys or girls in there as well. It's hard to really tell how many is gonna be there at one time.
Okay.
She will have a washer and dryer on the premises. She is going to have a shower, I think, too, right? For people want to take a shower, you're gonna go ahead with that. Yeah, she's gonna do that as well. Like I said, the couples massage, and then three other rooms plus the one for the couple massage.
Right, okay. Mr. Johnson, you want to start with any questions or comments?
I just have a couple quick questions.
Yes, sir.
These are by appointment.
Not really. Most massage places, you can walk in, that doesn't mean you're gonna get a massage then. If the massage place is full, you're just out of luck or you gotta come back. It always pays when you're going to those places to call in advance and make an appointment. And that way, when you come in the door, that spot is reserved for you. So, absolutely.
Okay,
I'm so curious about your hours of operation. What went into your thinking about that?
Well, that's more or less what every massage place operates at is 10, is it 10 to?
10 to 9.
9, 10, no, 10 to 9, yeah, 10 o'clock in the morning till 9.
Okay.
Yeah. Because you don't want to attract people late at night and everything, it's really not safe for the girls either after that time of the night. And 10 o'clock in the morning, they work till 9 o'clock at night, they don't want to be there at 7 in the morning and open up and just sit there for 2 hours either, so. It's generally a good time to attract customers.
Well, you're speaking, and I appreciate your speaking, but what's your role?
I'm just here as an advisory person, and if she needs some help with things, I'm gonna be there. I'm retired. I have my own business in Flossmoor, actually. I was airport transportation. And but I don't really have anything else to do, so I can go help her out and get started. And she knows what to do, but her English is not 100%, so she can communicate it, so. But like I said, I've known her for 7 years. She knows what she's doing.
I guess my question is, if you're working with a customer or customers, who's gonna be working the front? Taking customers in, if you only have one employee?
To start off with, but actually, that's what happens all the time with those massage places. They know because there's a bell on the door, or if a customer comes in and they go running from the back, and that customer gets put on hold for a second and says, I'm tied up for a minute, I'll be done in 15 minutes, and then if you want to wait, there's a waiting area the customer can sit out at. But one person handles these places a lot of times. It's better if when she gets 2 people, to eventually, but to start off with, yeah, there's a lot of them that do that.
Because that looks like I had it up a second ago, the diagram of the location, looks like you have rooms for what, six customers at a time?
Well, there's 4 rooms total. 3 of them are single rooms. One is the couples massage. Then there's a waiting area in the front
Right.
where people can wait. And that's where they will wait until they're called back. They just don't wander back into the rooms or anything. Sometimes the girl, if she knows the customer, I've seen them, oh, you want to go back and relax for a few minutes until I'm done with the last customer? And they'll say, yeah, and they'll go lay on the table and stuff like that until she's done with the other customer, and then she'll come in and take care of them. And they know that's what goes on.
That's it for me.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. O'Brien.
Good evening.
Hello, sir. Yeah, sorry.
I just have a couple of questions. Let me start off with staff. The property on page 9 has 80 parking spaces, but on page 10, it has 84. Which would be correct?
Yeah, page, you said page 8, it says 80.
Page 8 and 9.
Page 9.
Mhm.
So that's an error on staff's part, because the property did have 84 spaces, but I'm not sure if you recall when the daycare expanded. they took 4 spaces away, they got a variance to take 4 spaces away, so they could put their outdoor play area back there. So at one point it had 84, it now has 80.
Well, the reason I asked the question is because I messed up. It was not page 10, it was page 12.
Oh,
Which is the findings of fact.
Yep.
yeah.
And in the findings of fact, it says 84 and page 9 had 80. So since it's part of the findings of fact, I want to clarify
We'll
it.
have to amend that.
Well,
So which is correct?
80 is correct.
80 is correct, okay.
Thank you,
So the 84 should be changed to 80.
yes, thank you.
Okay.
I got a question for you. And would you get her own assigned parking there, you know, or is that done by the landlord or how does
That's
she?
done by the landlord.
That's done by the landlord determines that? Okay.
Yeah, and I think that it's shared parking higher.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Yeah, if you look at the businesses next door, some of those are signed, but those are actually different parcels with different property owners. So the center that you're in
Okay.
generally has shared parking for all the spaces in front of the building and
Which is
then to
fine.
the south.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, my next question is on page 10. The business is not in direct vicinity of a similar use, but on page 11, it says the nearest similar use is Tokyo Nail Spa located within the same shopping center. I'm just noting that to correct the materials that we
Yeah, so
received.
non-invasive should be corrected.
I have a question from my own education. On page 15, there's a redaction of the property owner's information. Part of the company is redacted, the whole address and the phone number is redacted. That's public information, is it not?
It should be covered.
Okay. Last question is, what is the downside if she's not proficient? Well, let me ask it this way.
Mhm.
If she's not proficient in English and she's a sole proprietor for the time being, there may be someone else that will come on later that she'll hire that may be English speaking. So how will she be able to effectively discuss anything? The type of massage, the cost, the time, anything related to the business?
Well, when you enter these massage stores, they have a sign right up by the cash register. And it says, what's kind of massages that you can get, again, I never can remember. Swedish massage or deep tissue, half-hour massage. It's got all the prices right up there when you walk in the door. As far as her communicating it, I don't see that it's ever been a problem. She's always, that they understand her.
It's an obvious question.
Mhm. Oh, I know, no. But like if I walked in there, I would know right off the bat how much it's gonna be, you know, for an hour massage. The hour and a half, or the couples massage, everything is listed right on the front certificate.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
No questions.
Okay. Member Cap.
Good evening.
Hi.
We'll lead off with a question for staff. This total number of parking spaces, does that include plenty lot behind this center? There's
Which one?
East side?
Yeah, the east side of the property. Can't call it a phantom lot, but it's
It depends on the location. So if it's coming off of the north on 187th Street, parking spaces, I think there's potentially 4 spaces on the back of that building and the rear and the east side. Those are not included in this center. Those belong to the properties to the north. But on the east side back where that play area is, for the daycare that's next door, those parking spaces on the east side of the lot are included in that count.
okay, just to verify. I'm curious, because I'm just totally unfamiliar with this. So you mentioned Swedish massage and the deep tissue.
Mhm.
What other?
What is the differences you mean?
No, but aren't there other techniques Sometimes we, I'm just curious, what other techniques might not only be available, but would be offered here.
Like deep tissue.
Yeah, deep tissue. I mean, I
Yeah,
understand the concept, but maybe let me step back. Are any of the different techniques, do any of them require a special training, special
Yes, and-
licensing by the state?
yes, and she has a Illinois massage license. Yes, it's by law that you have to have that. In fact, anybody that works there is supposed to have a massage license. And they have been trained, they have to go through a course. Matter of fact, I think it's $8,000 for the massage school, and it'd be right around there. For the massage school, isn't it? More now? Okay.
And then any of, I mean, again, I'm sure massage brings benefit to a lot of people, but is any of this, and is any of this business intended to be not just therapeutic, but part of a physical therapy program?
It's not billed through insurance, to my knowledge. It's not set up for that. I would not even know myself how to go about it. I don't think, go ahead, Kevin.
I mean, this morning.
Yes.
To give testimony.
Needs to be.
We have your name and address also.
Kevin Stampley, 16519 Ellis Avenue, South Island, Illinois, 60473.
And you swear the testimony you're gonna give us will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Go ahead, sir.
The reason I stood up because I'm a truck driver and I was going to massage NV in a regular commercial massage parlor. And they do massage, but it tends to be light and not therapeutic. And I mean, well, I'm not gonna say not therapeutic, but by me driving trucks and sitting down for 12, 14 hours a day, you tend to need a more coarse or hard massage. So what I've noticed with her as part of the spot she worked at, they offer different massages and also stretches that gets deeper than the regular, like massage envy and I guess more commercial massage parlor. So I think that's the benefit of going to some of these Asian spas, because they're more, seems to me, more, if you need more, harder.
More therapeutic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very
That's
much.
why I'm here, because,
Okay,
you know, I've been getting massage through my insurance, and this is helping me more than any of them.
okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So you don't submit the bill to your insurance company though?
No, that's why I was saying, like, the ones that I was supposed to go inside, they tend to be soft and not really getting deep into what you need, you know. And of course, everybody's issue is not the same as mine, because I sit down 12, 14 hours a day, so, you know. But that's what I want to add.
Okay,
And no further questions?
okay, Member Bransky,
I have no questions.
Member Alfonso.
I have a question. You're offering couples massages,
Yes, ma'am.
but you only have one massage therapist to start. Do you go back and forth, or how do you do this?
I don't know. How does that work with a couple's massage with one massage therapist?
Mhm.
I've never been involved in one, so that's a good question. I don't know.
I think when she mean that's, she's talking about hiring 1 or 2 more girls.
Yeah.
That's gonna be offered, but not right off the bat, starting.
Right, I think so too.
And she speaks good English, but what I've noticed in a professional setting, people get nervous, so that's why we're here, because she's comfortable with us, so. I can hear you say something, but you know how you get nervous and sometimes you get quick, so.
Also, she has an app called Google Translator, which is really good too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not always accurate, but it's pretty good, so, yeah.
And I'm sure when she's speaking with her clients, she's comfortable with what kind of questions and stuff, because she knows that
Oh, absolutely,
There's no smell.
absolutely, yeah.
Um,
She'll be taking credit cards as well, just so you know, so probably get set up with Square,
Yeah.
something like that.
kind of sounds like you need somebody to be there with you.
Oh, I'm gonna be there to help her. I'm not doing anything except watching a couple dogs at home, so.
So there
I
you
mean,
go.
I can go there for 2 or 3 hours, hang out, and if it's busy, I can run a credit card or something like that. It's not a problem.
Well, you're a good friend.
Oh, absolutely. She's been a good friend to me.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, can I sit down or?
No, you sit down.
No, it'll stand real good for a while. It's a 71-year-old thing, you know.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else on member of finance?
No, I'm done, thank you.
Okay. Anybody in the audience have any questions? No? Anybody else on the board?
No.
Okay, so are we then ready to entertain a motion? Case number 2416.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of case 24-16 to grant a special use permit for the operation of a massage therapy facility in the B3 General Business District for Relax Massage at 18719 Dixie Highway, with the condition that all required licenses and certifications for the services are provided prior to issuance of a business operations certificate, and incorporating the findings of fact into the record with the minor correction to findings of fact number 5, correcting the marked parking space quantity from 84 to 80.
And do we have a second?
I'll second.
I don't know who said it
Brian.
first.
I'll second.
Okay. Second by member O'Brien. Roll call, please.
Member Alfonso,
Yes,
member Bransky,
Yes.
member Cap,
Yes,
member O'Brien,
Yes.
member Johnson,
Yes.
Chair Capron, I'm sorry, Chair Zuniga,
Yes,
motion carries.
thank you very much.
We're approved.
Well, it'll go to the village board again, but I'm happy to discuss that as you're.
Oh,
here, so.
sorry. I'm getting
Oh, that's okay.
It's unanimous, so it'll be on. Thank
Thank
No
you.
more presentation.
Yes.
Yeah, you're approved here. Now you have to go before the village board. Okay?
Oh, we have to go to the village board now? Oh.
I'll, here.
They'll let you know.
Okay,
then.
all right.
Yep.
Oh, all right.
All right, thank
So we get
you.
outside.
Good luck with it.
Thank you. Good luck.
All right.
You're welcome. All right, should we wait for Noah to come back in?
No.
No, okay. Next is case number 2411 and case 2419. Special use permit for an indoor commercial place of assembly. And a variance for location of indoor commercial place of assembly use. At 17811 Brett's Drive in Homewood. Legal notice was published originally in the June 27th edition of the Southtown. And the case was initially heard on June 13th. And then it was republished in the June 27th edition of the Southtown, with the requirement of a variance application to operate the proposed special use. And we've gone through all this preliminary before. You want to come up to the podium, sir?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Yes.
Staff.
Yes.
The front page of the case identifies the topic as 2411 and 2419, a special use permit. It does not mention 2418, which is a variance. If you go to the page 34, the recommended action, it identifies 2418 and 2411. 2419 is not mentioned.
I think the data is a typo, that it's 24/8/4/19, that is the actual case for the variance.
So 19 should be 18.
Yes, 18
No.
should be 19,
I'm sorry, 19 should be 18.
so that should be the variance cases.
So case 2411 and 2418 is correct then.
I know, 19.
19, not 18, 19.
Okay, 2419.
Wait.
Good catch.
So on the recommendation, 2418 should be 19.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, you've already been sworn in. You want to tell us your name again?
Arnell Newman?
And, okay. We've already presented your first batch of information. I'm just gonna let you go through and tell us how you're changing it. How's that?
That's great. I think the number one concern here was the parking situation. That's always the overriding thing I hear consistently and I see. So what I did was wonder, thought about if I just driving through the premises on several weekends to see what the parking capacity looks like based on the businesses and the hours of operation over there. And I provided a summary with that. So looking over that, my first solution was to come up with a parking pass for the guests that are included to be in attendance. Knowing that there may be a situation where excessive guests show up, but they're not adhering to that parking pass restriction. We would contain it based by having a person out there for that special event to verify that that QR code is accurate and they would not be allowed to enter the premises. Now, the only other business in that block of development would be the brewery that operates beyond those times in which a special event would happen. According to what I observed this in the 3-week summary, the most cars and that I saw on that end of the property would range from anywhere from 9 to 21 cars. Parking spaces. So however, if they and I were to have a simultaneous event on the same event or same night, the building structure to the south of me is completely open with the exception of one trailer park that's parked there in front of the martial arts school and the motorcycle shop. So therefore, if there was spillover for us simultaneously having events, we would be accessible to an additional 50 parking spaces right on that Birch Drive. Now, that's speaking today. Now, if new businesses arrive in the next 3 years, 4 years, that's a situation that I think the best solution to address that is all the businesses to get together and communicate that there's a special event, say, hey, this is what we're planning 30 days out from now. If this is gonna be a problem, maybe we should all get together and have a discussion. But right now, those lots are primarily open.
Okay, your original request was for up to 80 people. So if you've changed it, now it's going to be by invitation only.
Well, the parking spaces will be by invitation only because that's a restriction based on that architectural design and the structure. The space will hold 80 people. But the concern was based on the parking elements of how we're going to park 80 people into that space.
Okay, so you're gonna limit it to 40 people,
40 parking spaces, yes.
40 parking spaces.
Yes,
So if 2 people come in a car, you could still have 80 people.
correct.
Okay. And if somebody shows up without an invitation,
They're not gonna have.
They're not
access to
gonna
the
have-
event tickets.
Member Alfonso, we'll start with you this time. Do you have any other questions or comments?
Well, I think that's a unique, and I appreciate your approach to being proactive and you know, presenting the solution, saying with the, parking passes. And I think that certainly you could fit 80 people in the space. 80 people are probably not bringing a car, each one of them a car. So with the, limiting it to your 40 spaces, I like the fact that you were coming up with a solution. I think that's great. Again, I think your discussion with the other tenants in the area and notifying them of special events is a great idea too. And how many special events do you anticipate you would possibly have in a month?
Oh, in a month, I would say probably be every other month at that, because we don't.
Like one a
identify-
month?
Yeah,
22, okay.
yeah, because we don't want to identify, we're not a venue, we're not, that's not our main. Order of business there, so we don't want to project that we're having events every weekend.
Okay, yeah,
You're not there, you're there to do work. not
That's correct,
entertain.
yes.
not to entertain,
Right.
well, I think that's a great idea. That's all I have.
Member Bransky?
Thank you. Yeah, I'll echo those sentiments. I think your idea here is proactive and gives an amount of control, and I think marrying that with the invite only helps control the response you get to the event, because that was one of my other secondary concerns is what if word of mouth gets out and all of a sudden everybody's bringing a buddy and you've got more than you can handle and it kind of gets out of control. But I think between the invite only and if you are controlling the parking like that, those are two very strong methods to make sure that what you're trying to accomplish doesn't get out of control and cause any issues for anybody else. So you're being a good neighbor and a good tenant, but I think also a wise business plan. So that alleviates any of my concerns about it. That's all I have.
Okay, Member Cap?
Good evening. It's great that you're talking about communication among your neighbors, let's say. Alerting them to the likelihood of special events and whatever. But my question, and I'm sure I brought it up previously. You did your survey to note that, well, weekends, there are very few cars parked here, and my only competition was the brewery. That's all well and good, but my question is there some mechanism in the building owner, the condo association's documents that allow you to presume that any open parking spaces are yours to use when you need them?
That I have reached out to the condo association, they said they never had, it's always been open, so there was never an assignment based on the previous renters or leases that they had structured there. So it's just been open, so it hasn't been numbered.
Okay, so then with that in mind, there really is no bar or prohibition to you to entertaining more than 40 guests at these events.
Correct. It's just that I think for the longevity of being a good neighbor, it's better just to have that discussion beforehand.
Sure. What sort of events? Could you be a little more specific? What sort of events are you anticipating or even planning?
So for something that I'll just go to the first extreme, if that 80 people were to be seated or ticketed for that event. If that's an event, that would be something that we would host annually. My organization, we did a thing, it's called World AIDS Day, and it was called Solistically Red. It was a fundraiser in which the proceeds went to the Howard Brown Center for the AIDS Research and Development Center.
I mean, essentially, this is that's very admirable, of course, but I'm thinking of events that might be a little bit more specific and in line with your business.
Well, on an average situation, if we were recording of an artist and they wanted to have a controlled audience, that would be a situation that would happen more frequently than the annual event. And that, like I said, that would not be at any event people capacity for something of a recording session like that with an audience.
How many would you,
More than 40 for, that's what we're gonna set up the stage for recording, we wouldn't have more than 40 people in the audience to film that.
what about things like launch parties?
Well, a launch party.
Yeah. You know, new artist,
If we had an artist release party, that would be a ticketed event, it still wouldn't be at the 80 capacity, we would limit that as well. The facility has a lot of equipment in there, and we don't really want to expose all of that just to anyone. So we really have to be part of the industry to be a part of that inside invite.
and what did you call it? Artist introduction party?
The artist release.
Artist release, okay. I think I'm good for now.
Okay, thank you. Member O'Brien.
Good evening. I've got a couple of questions and I need staff to help clarify something for me. The count of the parking places in the complex is 145 on page 27 and 146 on page, I'm sorry, 145 on page 24 and 146 on page 27 with 3 access points. I physically went out there. This case gave me an opportunity to update my information on the M1. I haven't been out there in a while. I physically counted 142. I walked the space twice. So I'm wondering where the difference might be. Where does the 145 or 146 come from? I gave the director on June 27th a report that listed the parking places on each side of each building. There are 6 handicap and 136 regular parking places for a total of 142.
Wouldn't the most current survey be the kind of the official record?
Member O'Brien, so that was based on my count, that I did using, and I did use aerial imagery for that. I didn't walk the site and count specific spaces. It's possible that there could have been, you know, changes in that time. I don't know what the property owner has done with parking spaces, adjust ADA spaces, things like that, for that may have been slightly modified. So that was based on some 2024 aerial imagery, but there's no guarantee that that didn't come from, say, earlier in the year, or something where that might have been modified. So,
Okay, on the north building where this particular applicant site is, there are 18 in front of the building and 38 along the west side of the property, running all the way down to the north access point. And the 2 handicap make a total of 58 for the building that we're talking about.
right.
By the way, just to inform everybody, when I was walking around, all of the buildings are numbered 177 and 178, but there is one 173 in there incorrectly. I don't know.
I bet you it's an 8 missing part of its number
Well,
to
no,
make it look like a 3.
no, it's a brand new 173. I won't list the other 2 numbers. But if you drive around the back, on the back door, it is correct. So the front door is not. I don't know how they do with package delivery and other
They're wondering
identification.
why they haven't gotten any deliveries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
poor UPS guy's been driving around looking for him.
Couple of other questions. How many employees will you have?
We'll have 4 employees. to start
4?
To start with.
Okay, in the materials, there's a reference to the larger production crews and smaller crews. So are those references to on a given night, when you're doing production, when you have a live audience, there are going to be more than the 4 people?
Right.
Okay, and what does a larger production crew mean in terms of number?
3 on lights, it looks at 9, 3 on lights, 3 on sound, 3 on for stage assignments.
Total,
9 to 12, depending on how big the band is.
9 to 12 for A larger production crew and a smaller crew would be
4, 6.
4 to 6. Okay. Those people are not by invitation only. You're trying to mitigate and control the number of cars. But if there are invitations to people and encouragement that they ride together, 4 people in a car, 10 cars, 20 cars, whatever. These people on the production crews, regardless of smaller or larger, are in addition. The architect, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, on the drawing or in some material indicated that the maximum number of people in the building, the maximum occupancy is 80. That would include not people sitting in the audience. It has to incorporate. So if you take 80 and you have 12 in a larger production crew, that knocks it down to 68.
Okay, but I think the architect drew the floor plan to seat 80. So I think he factored in the accountability for our crews to be in there to have seated 80 people. Because I think the schematic in the drawing shows 80 chairs on it.
It does.
The expression given by the architect was definite. Its maximum occupancy is 80. That would include everyone, audience, crew.
Yeah, I'd have to revisit that because I know we drew the floor plan for the 80 seats.
Okay.
That's correct.
I think
On page 27, there's a comment, if events exceed site capacity. What does that mean? Maybe I should ask staff.
Which page?
In the middle of the page on page 27, however, if events exceed site capacity, limited options for additional parking are available in the area due to the lack. The sentence doesn't flow. Limited options are not available in the area due to the lack of on-street parking allowed on Brett's Drive. That would make sense.
This also says the events with 40 patrons on weekends, which you're saying is it will be 80 people who will be attending and not 40. Right?
Correct.
How is that correct? I need an explanation. I'm asking for clarification. I think that sentence should be corrected. Correct me if I'm wrong.
The occasional events, so the occasional events with 40, it was my understanding, Mr. Newman, from when we spoke, that the vast majority of events, as you were explaining to member Cap, would be at around 40 people, you have 40 ticketed patrons.
Yeah.
So the 80 event is the maximum capacity that you would have, you mentioned an annual event, potentially with 80, that it would be infrequent. Is it more correct to say that it would be 40 patrons for a general event, that the type of events you'd be hosting are 80?
Correct. Yes.
That was a 40 or 80?
It would be 40 would be the majority of the events held, with the
Okay.
exception of some events at 80.
I guess I heard through your testimony that you were limited to 40 cars and not
Yes.
40 people.
Well, yes, it is 40 spaces that we're now,
Right.
40
But not
parking
40
spaces.
people. 80 people.
80 people.
So 40 cars, 80 people.
Right.
That's how I.
That's how I-
That's how I understand it too.
And that's at the furthest point, we don't project 40 cars coming into that space on a regular,
But you can accommodate 80 people.
yes, that accommodate.
No, I'm not asking you to check cars. I'm looking at occupancy and my concerns and the whole discussion are parking, traffic, occupancy, and safety. If the architect said 80, and as I said before, I don't want to keep repeating myself, you have a large crew of 12 on a production, that's only 68 that you would be effectively allowed occupancy for an audience. Oh, I take that back. That's a large crew. Does that include your employees? Because the large crew are those outside people that are not permanent employees of yours. You have employees of 4, but on a large production, you're bringing in additional personnel.
Correct, they're joining us for the event.
Right. So it's 80 less your 4 less 12.
No, we wouldn't have additional for it, would be 412 total on that production team. That's including our 4.
So
Okay.
like the way that I'm looking at the architecture drawing, the way I'm interpreting it, is that this seating area occupies 80, but that doesn't mean that's the total number of the building. There will still be additional people, because there will be people on the stage, there can be people in the rooms. So 80 isn't the total for the building,
Right.
Right.
it's
And
just
that's-
that seating.
That's
area.
it, right.
That's what I was looking for.
I was looking earlier, I was trying to draw that statement out by the architect. He said the total max
Where is that?
occupancy is 80.
Where is that?
Where's that
But-
seating?
Could you tell
Yeah,
me?
there's no 80 total occupancy.
I'm talking about a statement that was in our materials.
Right.
Where's that?
Where is that?
I stated in the middle of page 27 that as part of that discussion that there's a fire capacity of more than 40 people. I know, Mr. Newman, you mentioned to me that the capacity for people was around 80. I'm looking through the materials here to find specifically where 80 is stated in the material.
It starts on page 20.
It would be more than 80.
Yeah, because I knew in our design plan, it spoke about seating 80, so they made sure that the room accommodations for the seated area would accommodate 80 people in the seats.
Okay, I don't want to take any more time. I have one last question. And at this particular time, on page 33, I don't understand, this is for staff, I don't understand the number. It says the use is located in a business condominium with 142 marked parking spaces where 78 marked parking spaces are required. What does that mean?
So so the 145 was the number that again I counted it maybe at this present moment, it could be 142, but the 78 marked parking spaces are required is for based on if you park the entire space, the entire building complex as a multi-tenant commercial center, it would be 78 parking spaces are required at a rate of 1 space per 300 square feet of that entire center that's made up of 3 buildings on a single parcel.
Is every,
So that's for the entire building.
That's us.
yeah, I understand all 3 buildings. Are you saying that every single business, all the businesses are 1 to 300?
The entire complex is 1 to 300 items.
Because you're dividing by 78 market spaces. Is that why?
You've got 156 marked parking places. That's why I couldn't understand the number. 78, it means nothing.
Yeah, it really doesn't bring anything to it, because it's,
Yeah,
what does the word marked mean anyway?
well, striped.
I know, but it had, as you're saying, it really.
Yeah, I mean,
There's no.
the inclusion of that is immaterial.
Yeah.
I mean, 78, there's 142 marked or striped parking
Right.
places in the entire M1 complex of the 3 buildings.
Yeah, it has no consequence. Yeah.
It was just a statement of the zoning requirement for the site.
Mhm.
That there's physically more there than is required by
Yes.
use. That's what it was trying to.
Correct.
Only 78 are required. But they have 142 or 45.
Okay.
Does that preclude the fact that every single business has the same requirement? 1 to 300? 1 to 200? 1 to 250? I mean, is every business there require 1 to 300?
So
I understand what you're saying, but it did. I don't want to prolong this any longer. We can go into this at another time. I'm done for right now.
Okay. Member Johnson?
Yeah, I think your concept is great. I think it'll bring a lot to the community and I think certainly need it. I guess my overall concern and why in some ways I want to get away from the whole space counting, given that it appears that we do have enough space. Because you're not gonna be out there, you're trying to run a business. You're not gonna be outside policing traffic. Okay, you're not gonna be giving people codes and then someone comes in and then you gotta check, there are a bunch of cars in the parking lot that maybe they're there for another business or they're not there for the other business. How are you going to tell? Because you've only given out 40 codes, right? And so you won't know. And so why put yourself through that you gotta police the parking lot? So I think overall, to address some of the concerns that we're talking about here is to sort of talk about what you had mentioned, and I think Member Cap mentioned, started talking about it earlier, and that is the sort of, the special day of the week kind of parking, where you know what the capacity is gonna be. You've been kind enough to say, I'll talk to some of the other owners about, heavy days, heavy event days and that sort of thing. But it looks to me like, and with the additional survey audit you did yourself, that if there's something that's going to be problematic outside of your taking advantage of your 40 spots on a weekend event or a special event, that's something you'll work out with your neighbors.
Right.
But you know what the capacity problems are, because I know what's gonna happen with these events. If they get too crazy and too crowded, the police are gonna show, right? And police are going to, if the brewery is having problems, so on and so forth. You don't wanna be in that business. So instead of having you policing, who's using your 40 spots or potential spots, I think it probably says more to say, if you're going to and I don't know whether we would limit or limit our findings or limit your request to situations that would require you for any special event over a certain number of spaces that might be needed, that you would undertake something, right? I don't know what that something would be. But outside of that, it's just not realistic to be overly concerned about, okay, who's in the parking lot, who's not in the parking lot, who's got more customers, you or the brewery, and it looks like, as your survey, as I said before, suggests there's going to be plenty of empty space in the parking lot, no matter what happens on certain days. So I in that sense, I think it will be okay. But I appreciate what Member O'Brien and trying to get the parking spaces right. And your understanding that with our findings, there will be a limitation on the number of spaces that you're going to be using. But with that, keeping that in mind, you'll be able to do what you need to do without, in my estimation, having to give out QR codes of some kind of parking. So, but if you're doing that, that's fine. But, so, okay, that's all.
Okay. Thank you. I just want to review a couple things with you. Your hours are planned to be from
It's at page 25.
Yeah, I had never got one of those copies. And my pages don't have numbers. Here we go, 10 a.m. Hours of operation, 7 days a week. From 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. Most production teams work between 10 and 6 or 7 p.m. weekdays, correct?
Correct.
Following an 8 to 9 hour workday schedule typical of the industry. And that you stated the peak hours of the business will be between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. And that's excluding special events.
Correct.
Okay. And for special events, it'll be by invitation only.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything they would like to add?
I have one more question.
Yes, sir.
So this is gonna be the headquarters, if you will, of your Solistic 360.
Yes, sir.
So then any activities, I want to make sure I understand this and I'm clarifying. So any activities that Solistic 360 may sponsor, you're going to automatically have here, or how's that gonna work? For instance, that fundraiser that you talked about, it's an annual thing. Is that likely to be hosted here?
Yes.
Is it big enough? I mean, I don't know what your experiences have been.
Yeah, I mean, the last one we were able to hold was before the pandemic hit, and we had 60 attendees, 60 participants come in and purchase the tickets for that event.
Okay. Good to know. I'm done.
Okay. Anybody else?
I've got a couple. On page 35. For staff. If I can find it. Development metric. The proposed should be 3,000, not 300.
Correct. Under proposed for development metrics, it says 3,000, we're missing it to 300 for proposed, that is an error, that should say 3,000.
Should be 3,000. Okay. The variance on that form is not checked. We're doing a variance tonight, right?
Correct,
Okay.
the variance was applied for after the original.
Merely clarifying it for the record. On that same form, there are in the requested use and site or building changes boxes. They're not visible. They start, but they do not end. So we do not have the complete information about what those are. I don't know whether they would be material to our decision. But in the future, it would be helpful if we receive what that might be. The last question I have is on page 38. And it's just again, a correction. The requested variance place of assembly. Indoor should be included. I do have one last question. Page 29 refers to a standing room only event.
No.
Is that beyond the 80? How do you get standing room only? If you're inviting people and there are so many to a car, you're still having 80 people come in. It's programmed, it's controlled. You have 80 seats. How do we get to standing room only? That's in the material on page 29. Standing room event.
You anticipate having,
I understood the same will make sense.
I mean, that would be a lot more than 80 people.
Yeah.
that we could get prepared for.
Well, it generally is still a true fact, right?
Yeah.
Those are
I
comments
mean,
from staff.
it's a comment, right? Right.
If I could offer some perspective, there's a place in the city, I'm sure you're familiar with it, the Promontory. Just for comparison, that's how would you describe it?
A nightclub.
Yeah, so 2,700 square feet, just to tell you, and they have a seating capacity of 150, but this, however we're describing it, stand up or walk around or whatever, at 300, so it like doubles.
Yeah, it does.
So, just throwing that out for the discussion.
But we've already had a lengthy discussion about the capacity of the place.
But his maximum capacity is 80.
With these.
With seats, right? That's with seats, right?
I said I would look for that statement that was in the materials.
Yes.
It was on case 2411. Date of the meeting was June 27th. And on page 19 of that, it says the architect associated with the project has stated that the absolute maximum capacity for the space is 80 persons. That's a definitive statement.
So that would be customers and employees.
It would be customers, employees, everybody, the crews, maximum of 80. Wouldn't be an audience of 80. That's the reason I was asking the question about standing room only.
Those two.
Okay,
I have no more questions.
anybody else? Before I request a motion to on this case. Let me just read this. The approval of this proposed special use is contingent on the approval of an amendment to permit indoor commercial places of assembly in an M1 limited manufacturing zone. This amendment was recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission for approval by the village board on June 27th, 2024. The amendment will be considered by the village board sometime in July.
That will be on the July 23rd. The board agenda. And it will be, it's unanimous recommendation, and it will have to be in the agenda before this one, because it has to be approved first, but there should be no issue with it being.
And I just want to make the petitioner aware of this, that
It'll both be approved at the same.
even if we approve it here, it's conditional on the village
It
board
goes to the-
approving it. Okay? All right, with that, if nobody else has any other questions or comments, I will then entertain a motion for case 2411 and 2419, special use permit for indoor commercial place of assembly and a variance for location of indoor commercial place of assembly use.
Question, for staff, are we doing this as two votes, or are we doing this combined as one?
I think we can combine it as one,
Okay,
as long as you're comfortable with it.
Just one other clarifying, related to member O'Brien earlier question. We're voting on 2419 and 2411. In light of the comments that were made earlier, should the consideration for the motion include any additional statements beyond this, what we have here?
Relating to what?
Relating to the findings.
well, you have to change that to 2419.
Well, the motion for consideration related to the findings themselves, and particularly we're okay with number 5, right? Occupy tenant space with a total of 3,000 square feet, which we took care of. And then number 6, we were talking about the 78 marked parking spaces, which as a factual matter is true, but not necessary. I'm just wondering if there are any other findings that we need to change before.
Do we need to change number 6?
You wanna change that, the timing?
Yeah, number 6. would ch- would change the-
142 for the total.
Right.
Yeah, that's what is currently marked there.
You gonna take that liability for your account?
We're gonna go out and audit it.
It's innocuous. I mean, you're just stating that,
Yeah.
that what exists physically is more than is required.
How did,
So how does it even?
how did that number come about, 78? What's the calculation?
Yeah.
The calculation was 1 space per 300 square feet. For a multi-tenant commercial center.
But, you know, the units are, I would say, not uniform, they're not regular. I mean, there are
Yeah.
what, 3
We also-
buildings?
We have to look into that, because I know the commission study has the entire building,
Right.
so that's a single use.
Right.
building.
Is
Yeah,
it,
we'll look at the-
is it safe to just say that the 142
Exceed.
exceeds the requirement
Yeah.
based on calculation?
Yes,
Okay.
And not get specific with the actual number?
yes.
I think, I would assume all of us would be comfortable with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We can do that.
We will.
Okay. Great. Well, Bransky, you gonna make a motion?
Oh, sure. Be more than happy to. Mr. Commissioner, I'd like to make a motion. To recommend approval of case 24-19 to permit a variance from section 44-04-04 item B of the home and zoning ordinance, allowing the operation of an indoor commercial place of assembly use at 17811 Brett's Drive, which is located on a street currently classified as a local street. And recommend approval of case 24-11 to permit the operation of an indoor commercial place of assembly as a special use at 17811 Brett's Drive. And incorporate the findings of fact into the record, which we have agreed to modify item number 6 to be corrected to read 142 marked parking spaces, which exceeds the number of spaces required. Period.
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, we-
We have a motion by member Bransky. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by member Alfonso. Roll call.
Member Alfonso,
Yes.
member Bransky,
Yes.
member Cap,
Yes.
member O'Brien,
No,
member Johnson,
Yes.
Chair Suzega.
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll walk out here. I'll talk about the next steps with you here.
Good day.
Good luck with it.
Anything else, Angela?
And I do not believe we have a meeting.
Pardon me?
I don't think we have a second, we do not have a second meeting in July.
Great.
You're getting me off.
I'm just.
Okay.
Are you calling that our, summer break?
Yeah.
Yeah.
when's the donut shop open?
I don't know.
There's a sign on there that says soon.
I know.
Yeah, on Harwood.
Which one?
Keeps working on.
The one that
The
keeps-
living building.
Oh,
Oh, well, across the street, yeah, the donut shop.
The next two things that'll pop up for you are, the drive-through on the outside.
for you.
And I'll have,
That'll be a drive-through for a coffee shop,
What will we?
the
Brunswick Zone.
Brunswick Zone.
Oh, okay.
Remember we did the research.
oh, the one on Halsted,
No, the one on 183rd.
183rd, there'll be 3 buildings now.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so that you'll get the special, drive-through for the coffee shop will be a special use.
Ah.
And then the other subdivision, the Washington Park subdivision, that drive-through for that commercial use will also come before planning and zoning. So they should be applying for those fairly soon. Those are the next two.
You use the term coffee shop
Maybe
of some kind.
Coffee shop of some kind. May or may not be very famous, and we already have 2 in town.
Yeah, right, yeah, exactly. We need one on that.
Actually, there
have
was one on that side of town. That way.
Think there's gonna be, yeah.
Now,
And
and
they
they
did
moved
have
it.
drive-through, so that-
Yeah.
Well, they could have had a drive-through.
They could have, and they
Yeah,
could sort of
they can speed.
All right, if nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
One
Yes, sir.
comment, and
Wait,
this is
Mr. Johnson has a
uh,
question.
No, I made the comment at the last meeting about the minutes. And then I noticed that the minutes were even longer for the last time.
So-
Right, they were like almost 3 pages. And so I'll just reiterate
We'll work on shortening them.
shortening
We'll
them,
work on
right, exactly, because it just creates more work for you.
Yes.
To have to do that, so, okay.
We'll work on it.
Mr. Chair, that was just my
Yes, I noticed that also.
Public service.
Wait, I thought we were gonna
concern. Right.
summarize these.
Okay, I'm sorry. Mr.
No,
Chair.
that's okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
Mr.
moved.
Johnson, did you want to make that motion?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Because it's after 8.
That's, yeah. I will make that motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
We adjourn.
Third.
Johnson and O'Brien.
Right, all those in, I guess we could
Yeah.
do that as a group vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much.
Okay.
You heard that, Sheree, right? We don't do this work. Yeah.
Good job.
So when's the date for the casino to open? What's going on with that?
October,
Yeah.
it's really coming along. It's down, I know, there are people down, has been inspecting it all along, and it's,
How about the home?
Do we get a tour?
I don't know.